Heartwarming reunion, Billionaire discovers incredible truth about her twin daughters after 6 long years. Emily Hart gripped the steering wheel of her sleek black SUV, the small town of Maplewood rushing toward her like a vivid dream from the past. It had been years since she left her humble beginnings, driven by ambition that turned her into a self-made billionaire. The weight of her success bore into her chest, mixing with the memories of childhood, her mother's laughter at the local diner, the sturdy brick walls of the old schoolhouse where values were instilled, and the park where she spent countless hours playing. She sighed, a rush of nostalgia rising within her, but this homecoming was bittersweet. The recent death of her estranged father loomed over her like a heavy cloud, stirring guilt deeper than she ever thought possible. As she drove past the familiar sights, whispers danced in the air. Townsfolk eyed her resentful, suspicious, judging her wealth as if it were an open wound. "Look at her," some murmured, "she left us for riches." They didn't know the truth. They couldn't possibly understand the sacrifice she made all those years ago, the choice to give her twin daughters up for adoption, desperate to give them a life she couldn't afford. A lump formed in her throat as she pulled into the town square, where people gathered for the annual Maplewood Fair. Children laughed, couples strolled hand in hand, and the aroma of fried dough wafted through the air. But beneath this facade of joy, sharp nerves twitched within Emily. How would her daughters react to the mother who left? Would they see her fancy clothes and polished nails, or the woman who loved them more than life itself? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. As the crowd mingled, Emily caught sight of them, her daughters now teenagers, bright and curious. But their eyes held confusion and a hint of anger as they confronted a past that had been hidden from them. The moment felt electric, the air thick with unspoken words. They approached her, and her heart quickened. "You're really here?" one of them asked, voice steady but with emotional undertones. "Why did you abandon us?" Their confrontation was raw, emotions crashing like waves. Tears brimmed in Emily's eyes as she struggled for the right words. She had waited so long for this moment, yet it was more painful than she could have imagined. But before any healing could begin, a shocking revelation exploded into the air, an identity of their father that no one, not even Emily, had anticipated. This revelation twisted the knife further, shredding the fragile threads of hope Emily clung to. Their anger was palpable, a wall of hurt and betrayal that consumed the space between them. Emily found herself at a crossroads, desperation clawing at her insides. She could feel the pull of her entrepreneurial life dragging her away, but instinctively, her heart screamed for connection. The town looked on, a mixture of empathy and judgment written across their faces. Would her wealth ever be seen as a blessing? Or just a reminder of everything she had given up? As the weight of silence enveloped them, Emily realized she had to make a choice. Would she fight for forgiveness and a chance to heal, or would she retreat back to her life of prosperity, leaving everything behind once more? The ghosts of her past loomed, and hope flickered dimly like a candle in the dark. The future felt uncertain, but one thing remained: she had to try. Time was slipping through her fingers, and Emily was running out of it. Emily's heart raced as she stood frozen, her daughter's eyes piercing through her like daggers. The fair buzzed around them, but time felt suspended. She took a shaky breath, searching for the words that could bridge this gaping chasm of hurt. The anger radiating from her girls was palpable, a whirlwind threatening to sweep away the flickering hope she clung to. "Listen," she finally managed, her voice steady but soft. "I never wanted to abandon you. It was not a choice made lightly. Every day of my life since I left has been filled with regret and longing." The darker-haired twin, Sarah, crossed her arms tighter, eyebrows knitted. "Regret? Does that make it okay? Do you think a small apology changes the years we went without a mother? We had to grow up without you, Her voice cracked, and Emily felt her heart shatter a little more. What was I supposed to do? Emily whispered, tears spilling down her cheeks. I thought giving you a better life was what you needed. I thought it was for the best. Her chest felt tight as she recalled the countless nights spent dreaming of their smiles. The guilt clawed at her. She had been a mother who chose discomfort for the love of her children. Do you want us to thank you for that? Said the other twin, Ella, her voice cold. You think because you have money now, it makes it better. It doesn't. The sharpness of her words sliced through the air, each syllable weighted with disappointment. Please, Emily pleaded, her voice barely above a whisper. I am so sorry. I want to know you, to be part of your lives, if you'll let me. But I can't change the past. I can't take it back. She looked down, the weight of her reality pressing down like a heavy blanket. The girls exchanged a glance, a mix of hurt and uncertainty flashing between them. Emily felt their anger slowly morphing into something else, confusion, perhaps even amidst all the pain. From the corner of her eye, she noticed the townsfolk still watching, whispers dancing among them. There was sympathy mingled with their judgment, and she could feel the weight of their stares like a shroud wrapped around her. What did they expect her to do? Was she the villain in this story? As the emotional storm settled momentarily, Sarah's expression softened just a fraction. We have questions. So many questions. Our lives have been completely different. We don't even know you. The vulnerability in her tone tugged at Emily's heartstrings. I want to know you, too, Emily replied, her throat dry. Every single part of you. Your fears, your dreams, your favorite colors. Please let me be part of it. Silence fell between them, heavy and daunting. Emily waited, heart pounding in her chest, praying for a sign, any sign, that they would take a step closer. Then, suddenly, a commotion erupted a few feet away. A small crowd gathered, a boy crying loudly as he clutched his scraped knee. Distracted by the commotion, Emily's daughters glanced over, faces shifting to concern for the distressed child. In that moment, Emily realized something. Perhaps they shared more than just blood, perhaps they had the same capacity for empathy buried beneath the layers of hurt. As they rushed to the boy's side, Emily followed, feeling a flicker of hope igniting within her again, but as she watched them kneel beside the child, she couldn't shake the feeling that this moment was only the beginning. The connection they were forming felt fragile and uncertain, like it could shatter with a single harsh word or lingering doubt. And she knew as she looked at her daughters, who were beginning to show the essence of who they could become, that they all needed to face the truth not only about each other, but also about the man who was their father. Would they be ready for the weight of that revelation? What other secrets lay hidden in their family's history? With a knot in her stomach, Emily understood, this was just the beginning of their journey. Time was still slipping away, and she would have to confront more than just the past. Emily watched her daughters comfort the boy, their instincts kicking in to suit the worry etched on his face. It was a small act, but it felt monumental, the way they approached him with genuine care. She felt a warmth spreading through her, a flicker of connection igniting in her chest. It was a reminder that even amidst the hurt, they could find compassion, just as she had always hoped. As the boy's cries turned into soft whimpers under the gentle touch of her daughters, Emily took a tentative step closer. Seeing them in this light felt almost surreal. Would they let her in? Would this moment be the first of many? Ella glanced up toward Emily as she brushed a tear from the boy's cheek. There was a spark of understanding in her eyes, a sliver of the girl she had once known. Mom, do you have a band-aid or something? She asked, her voice momentarily softening. Emily's heart raced again, not with fear this time, but with a rush of hope. Yes. I have some in my bag, she replied, her voice steadier than before. She dashed to her bag, fumbling through its depths until her fingers closed around the small first aid kit. Racing back to her daughters and the boy, she felt their focus shift to her, drawing them into a shared moment. Gently kneeling beside them, she handed the boy the band-aid. You're going to be just fine, she said, smiling at him. The boy cautiously accepted it, his tears drying as he took in the kindness surrounding him. As the girls helped him apply the bandage, Emily caught a glimpse of a familiar energy, the kind she'd felt when they were younger. A large part of her edged nearer to elation. They were still capable of being tender, still able to show warmth despite the walls that had been built between them. Ella looked up once more, her eyes searching Emily's for answers. Can we talk after this? Just the three of us?" Emily's breath hitched. The desire for connection was there, simmering under the surface, and she felt it like a lifeline. "Of course," she replied, trying to contain the torrent of emotions. "Whenever you're ready." Transitioning from the chaotic scene, a sense of calm enveloped them as they concluded their small act of kindness. The boy wandered off, and the fair continued its bustling rhythm, but it felt quieter in their little corner, less harsh, more hopeful. "Maybe today wasn't a complete disaster," Emily said softly, half to herself, but loud enough for them to hear. Sarah turned slightly, a hint of something vulnerable in her voice. "I don't know if it fixes everything, Mom, but it was good, I guess." The uncertainty was etched across her features. Emily nodded, feeling how fragile these small steps were. "It's a start," she admitted, allowing herself to believe that they were taking the first steps toward healing. Just then, the loudspeaker crackled to life with a jovial announcement about a pie-eating contest starting nearby, the laughter and cheer providing a stark contrast to their earlier emotional confrontation. "We should go see that," Emily suggested, gauging their expressions. "I mean, if you want." The girls exchanged glances, hesitant yet intrigued. It was a small shift, but it felt significant to Emily. Perhaps they could build laughter and joy, however temporary, around the cracks they had been nursing. But just as they began walking towards the crowd, Emily felt a weight settle in her chest again. Just beyond the fairground, estranged memories beckoned. The shadows of the past lingered, ready to eclipse this moment if they remained unaddressed. Sarah turned back to Emily, her expression a mixture of determination and curiosity. "So, what's the deal with Dad?" Emotion washed over Emily like a cold wave. The truth was coming, whether she was ready or not. There it was, looming over them, ready to unravel everything she tried to protect them from. "Let us enjoy the contest first," Emily said hesitantly, her heart now drumming a faster beat. "And then we'll talk." But deep inside, she feared how the revelation would change this fragile connection, this newfound light before the uncertain shadows re-emerged. Would they still feel the same after knowing the truth? With her daughters walking beside her, she couldn't shake the reminder that the real journey was only just beginning. And the next revelation could reshape everything. The laughter and cheers enveloped them as they made their way through the crowd. Emily's hand twitched at her side, yearning to reach for her daughters, but she held back. She didn't want to break the fragile bond they had just begun to stitch together. They approached the pie-eating contest tent, where a large banner flapped overhead and the tantalizing scent of baked goods wafted through the air. Colorful tables were set up, covered with plates piled high with pies, and eager children with whipped cream smeared on their faces were scrambling to pick their favorites. The scene was painted with joy, sheer delight glimmering in every smile, every shout. Ella's eyes sparkled in awe. "Look at that!" she exclaimed, her previous hesitance melting away for the moment. Emily felt a wave of relief wash over her, but the looming conversation about their father hung heavily in the air, threatening to crash this newfound happiness. She pushed the thought aside as they found a spot in the sun, cheering for the contestants. For a moment, laughter flowed freely, filling a hollow space that had long been shadowed by silence. Sarah, leaning in closer, began to nudge her sister. "You wouldn't last 5 seconds against those champs. Just watch me." Ella shot back, her competitive spirit igniting. As Emily watched them, her heart lifted. Their smiles seemed so genuine, so radiant as they playfully debated who could eat more pie. She clung to these brief moments, stitching memories of laughter and joy like the fabric of a safety net beneath them, but soon the laughter died down. Sarah's gaze turned serious, drawing Emily's attention. "Okay, Mom. We need to talk now." The way that Sarah's brown eyes darkened made Emily's stomach twist. She swallowed hard, forgetting the careless joys of pie for a heartbeat. Yeah, I know, the words seemed to trap themselves inside her throat. We can't just pretend everything is fine, Ella added, concern replacing her earlier excitement. The shadow of the chat they had been skirting loomed again, heavy and inevitable. Emily's heart began to race. You're right. We can't, her voice faltered as she met their expectant gazes. What kind of mother kept secrets? What would her daughters think if they uncovered the truth, the real reason their family was fractured? Look, I want you both to understand, she started, hands shaking as they clutched at her sides. But her anxiety twisted her words like vines, tight, unyielding. At that moment, a child's laughter broke through the air, a reminder of the innocence of having fun without knowing. Emily looked around, desperate for the right way to approach the conversation, but her gaze landed on a nearby booth, hawking colorful balloons. A young boy held one, joy stark against the backdrop of life's complexities. The simplicity of it tugged at her heart. Mom. Ella's voice brought her back. We need to hear it from you. The urgency hung thick. Emily took a deep breath. I know I haven't been there, but it wasn't just my choice. There are things about your dad, things that you don't know. Her daughters exchanged glances, the gravity of her words sinking in. Why didn't you tell us? Sarah's voice trembled slightly. I didn't want to hurt you, I didn't want to shatter what was left of our family. Ella's disappointment was palpable. But we deserve the truth, don't we? Their faces, once painted with youthful joy, carried the marks of confusion now. Emily felt the tears threaten as the looming inevitability of the conversation cast its shadow again. I promise, I will tell you everything, Emily said, her heart heavy. But with a glance at the laughter around them, she knew time was running short. But let us not do it here. Not in the middle of the contest. I want us to choose the moment. But the confirmation in her daughter's eyes showed the hurdle ahead wouldn't be easy. They couldn't hide from reality forever. As they resumed watching the contest, Emily wrestled with the fear. Would they be able to navigate the storm she was about to unleash once the truth hit them? In that moment of silence, she realized how precariously close they were to either breaking apart or coming together. But as the pie-eating contest reached a hilarious climax, the energy caught them off guard. Observers roared with laughter. Something in moment rekindled hope in Emily's heart. Yet beneath the surface, the beast of the past loomed, hungry and patient, waiting its turn. But would they tackle it together or allow it to swallow them whole? Only time would reveal what lay beyond the laughter. Emily squeezed her eyes shut, clinging to the sound of cheers and laughter from the contest. It wasn't that she wanted to ignore the girls' faces and the questions etched into them, she wanted to savor this slice of happiness a little longer. Just as she was about to allow herself to relax, a triumphant shout erupted from the stage, cutting through the tension. Next contestant, get ready. The announcer's voice boomed, pulling Emily's attention back. She forced a smile, urging herself to stay in the moment. Ella and Sarah had already shifted their focus entirely on the antics unfolding before them. The bubbling energy of the crowd was infectious, and Emily felt a wave of longing to join in, to shield herself in this joy for just a bit more. A brisk wind rustled the nearby trees, sending the scent of cinnamon and sugar flitting through the air. Emily took a deep breath, inhaling the sweetness, wishing it could somehow mask the bitterness that lingered in her heart. Why don't you girls go get in line for a slice of pie? I'll catch up with you, Emily suggested, her voice lightening as she ushered them toward the pie table. She could see their eyes light up at the thought, making her heart flutter. Okay. They chimed together, bounding off into the crowd. Their laughter danced through her ears, and for a fleeting moment, she felt like everything could still turn out all right. But deep down, the churning inside her chest reminded her that the happiness they currently felt was precarious, hanging by the thinnest of threads. Watching them leave, Emily felt the weight of what was coming settle on her shoulders again. Each giggle echoed like a countdown to the truth. Mom! Ella called over her shoulder. You coming? Yeah, just a sec. She replied, forcing herself to look carefree as she joined them near the front of the line. The pie table was a kaleidoscope of colors: bubbly blueberry, rich chocolate, and glistening apple. The sight made her stomach rumble, but she couldn't help being distracted by her daughters, giggling together and sharing a fleeting moment of sisterly joy. As they each grabbed their slice, the girls turned to Emily, their faces lighting up with sweet, whipped cream-smeared smiles. Can we have a taste of yours, Mom? Ella asked. Sure, if you share. Emily laughed, the sound both foreign and beloved in her ears. She took a bite of the apple pie, letting the flavors seep in before she responded. But as she chewed, reality pressed against her thoughts, mixing with the sweetness. What's wrong, Mom? Sarah inquired, eyeing her closely. The way her daughter studied her reminded Emily too much of that heavy moment they had just dodged. Nothing. I'm just enjoying my pie, Emily replied, her voice a pitch too high. Sarah frowned, her expression revealing she saw right through the facade. You know we care, right? You can't keep hiding stuff from us. Emily's heart lurched. Coloring the moment with pie wouldn't be enough to sweeten this. Hey! Why don't we do something fun after this? The carnival rides are waiting. Ella proposed, excitement bubbling forth. Yeah. That sounds great. Emily replied, hoping the thought of spinning rides could distract them, even for a moment. But as they laughed and wandered off towards the rides, Emily's mind continued to circle back to the inevitable conversation. The truth loomed larger with each passing second, and she felt the knot of guilt tighten. After they finished their slices, they moved together toward the Ferris wheel, the light sparkling like stars against the night sky. But in each sparkly glow, she saw reflections of her daughter's naive hopes. They were blissfully unaware of how that light could dim with just a few words. As they stood in line, the colors of the festival blazed around them, mixed with the occasional carnival song playing in the background. She wanted to capture this image: her daughters, laughing, fingers sticky with pie, and bodies buzzing with excitement. Yet, as the wheel creaked, nearing the top, she felt the world tilt. Suddenly, the laughter and screams of the festival felt like whispers against the weight of the silence she was about to unleash. Mom. Ella's voice was small, piercing through Emily's reverie. What's really going on? At that moment, the tension snapped like an elastic band, threatening to break wide open. Would this be the time to dive in? Okay, girls, Emily breathed, realizing they had reached a tipping point. It's time we talk. But before she could utter another word, an unexpected figure came rushing into the crowd, carrying the scent of a storm, bursting with a hidden past of its own. The chill seeped into the night, leaving Emily wondering if they'd ever be ready for the answers or if the questions were just beginning. Emily's heart raced, the unexpected presence tightening the knot in her chest even further. She squinted through the colorful chaos, trying to make out the rushing figure. The crowd parted like waves, revealing a familiar face. It was Jake, her estranged brother, his backlit silhouette framed by the vibrant lights of the festival. Jake? Emily whispered, disbelief mingling with a flood of emotions. The last time they'd spoken, it had been nearly a decade ago, wound left unattended, festering under the weight of unaddressed family turmoil. Emily. He called, his voice barely piercing through the carnival din, but it was enough to snap her out of her daze. The girls looked between their mother and the newcomer, confusion etching their brows. Mom. Who's that? Ella asked, her big eyes darting between Jake and Emily. It's your uncle, Emily stammered, feeling the walls of her carefully constructed facade begin to crumble. Jake approached, his expression a mixture of relief and concern. I didn't know if I'd see you here. I had to come when I heard. Why now? She asked, her voice shaking, the sweetness of the pie from earlier souring in her stomach. After all this time? I know I messed up, Em. But I found something out about Mom, about the family, that you need to know. The urgency in his tone sent a shiver down Emily's spine. The weight of truth, like an invisible anchor, hung heavily in the air. She stumbled back slightly, wanting to protect her girls from whatever storm was brewing. Her mind raced just when she thought she was about to open up about her own struggles. A tidal wave of unresolved family history crashed in. Emily instinctively stepped in front of Ella and Sarah, shielding them from the mounting tension. "Are you sure this is the place, Jake?" she whispered, panic roiling inside her. "We're at a festival, they're just kids." "But they need to know," he replied, his eyes pleading for understanding. "There are things that can't wait anymore. What could possibly be so important that you had to push back into my life now?" Emily felt defensive, the sharp edges of hurt and betrayal reshaping her thoughts. Ella and Sarah exchanged uncertain glances, sensing the shift. "We're in danger of losing our family heritage, Jake whispered more urgently. "There are truths about us, about our parents, you need to hear what I found." His words cut through the noise of the festival, reverberating in Emily's mind. She glanced at the Ferris wheel, the laughter of nearby children, and for a brief moment, she was swept away in memories of happier times, when family meant comfort and safety. But that reality felt fragile. She turned back to Jake, feeling the urge to protect her daughters from the deluge of emotion about to spill forth. Yet a part of her was intrigued, a deeper desire wanting to reclaim lost histories. What kind of truths were they talking about? What had she been missing all these years? "Okay. Let's talk," she finally said, swallowing hard, the enormity of her decision resonating. "But not here. Somewhere private." Before she could make her way through the crowd, Jake reached out, hesitating before placing a hand on her arm. "I'm sorry for how things ended before, Emile. But you have to trust me, this is important." Emily looked into his eyes, the vulnerability mirrored in her own. She felt the weight of history, family ties, and the future of her girls hanging in the balance. With a nod, she glanced back at Ella and Sarah, who were now fully aware that the happy bubble of the festival had been pierced. "Let us find a quieter spot, okay?" she said, forcing a calmness into her voice. As they began to walk away from the rides and lights, a feeling of foreboding mingled with curiosity swept through her. What revelations lay ahead? And in what ways would these truths transform the very fabric of their lives? With her heart pounding and questions swirling around, Emily heard Jake's voice behind her, promising a truth that might unravel everything she thought she knew. "There is something you need to understand, the past might be closer than you think." Emily moved through the crowd, her heart pounding. The bright lights of the festival felt like they were blinding her, drowning out the laughter and joy that usually enveloped such events. Jake walked closely beside her, his presence resurrecting an array of memories she had long since hidden away. As they found a quieter corner behind a row of booths, the sound of distant music faded, replaced by the dull thrum of her own heartbeat. Ella and Sarah stood nearby, their innocent faces painted with confusion and curiosity. Emily felt the full weight of being a mother pressing down on her. "Mom, what is going on?" Ella asked, her voice soft but firm, cutting through the uncertainty that hung in the air like a thick fog. Just a family matter, sweetie," Emily said, trying to put a brave face on, even as her insides twisted with anxiety. Jake took a deep breath, and for a moment, it seemed like he was steeling himself for what was coming next. I don't want to do this here, but it's important," he said, glancing at the girls as though they were unwitting guests at an intimate gathering. "There are secrets about our family, things Mom kept from us. Things that could change how you view everything." "What do you mean?" Emily asked, her heart racing even faster. "What could be so monumental that it involves my girls?" "Not just your girls," Jake said, his voice low. "Us. Our entire family's legacy is at stake. It's about what you don't know about Mom's past. About what she went through." Emily's stomach churned. Memories crash-landed in her mind, the family gatherings that turned into silent feuds, the unspoken grudges that festered like a wound. I don't understand why this matters now," she replied, her voice almost pleading. "Why couldn't you tell me any of this before?" Jake's gaze bore into hers, mixing remorse with a deep sadness. "Because I didn't know until recently. It was like pulling a single thread, and it unraveled everything. I needed to be sure before I came back, but what I found is shaking me to my core, We can't ignore it. Just tell me." Emily's voice broke slightly, the pressure of holding her family together suddenly very real. The stakes felt enormous as the girls moved closer together, their eyes darting back and forth between their mother and uncle. Jake hesitated, clearly wrestling with how much to reveal. "It's about who you really are, who we really are. And there are others who want to keep these truths buried for good." The way he emphasized "buried" sent chills racing up Emily's spine. "Others? What do you mean?" Her hands clenched into fists, nails digging into her palms. "They've been watching us. If something isn't done soon, we might lose everything that matters," Jake said, glancing over his shoulder as though he expected someone to be lurking behind the brightly colored booths. Fear gave way to resolve within Emily. Whatever secrets the family held could no longer remain hidden. "Then we need to do something, Jake. The girls deserve to know. I deserve to know." Ella tugged gently at Emily's shirt, her eyes wide. "Mom. What's happening? Can we go on the rides now?" Emily knelt down, wrapping her arms around her daughters, who instinctively leaned into her warmth. "Not yet, honey. We're just figuring some things out. I promise we'll get back to having fun soon." Jake's gaze softened as he watched the three of them. "There's so much to uncover, and doing it now could put you all in danger. But I believe we can protect each other." Emily pulled back slightly, meeting Jake's intense gaze. "Then let us do it together. All of us." As night settled around them, she felt a shift in the air, marking the beginning of a new chapter. Truth beckoned, and she was ready to grapple with its weight. What kind of darkness lurked in the shadows of their family history? And were they truly prepared for what lay ahead? Emily felt the air grow colder as shadows deepened at the festival. She glanced around, searching for signs of danger, but only saw festooned lights twinkling cheerfully above families and laughter. The contrast was jarring. How could everything seem so bright and lively while her world felt like it was crumbling? "Jake, just tell me the truth. What is so terrifying that we can't discuss it here?" She noticed her voice rising and quickly tempered it, trying to keep the girls calm. That he shifted nervously, his hands rubbing together as if they were cold. "It's about our family's past, Em. It started long before you or I ever existed. Decisions were made, secrets created to protect us, but it did the opposite." Emily's mind raced. Her heart sank deeper into her stomach. She thought of her mother, who always seemed larger than life, and now that image seemed to split in front of her, revealing cracks beneath the surface. What did she do? What did she hide? "I haven't got all the pieces yet. But I know it's connected to a community. People who are still out there." Jake hesitated, weighing each word like they were precious stones. "Your mother made a choice, one that's put us at risk. A risk that's grown over the years." Ella and Sarah clung to Emily, sensing the rising tension. "Mom," Ella whispered, "can we go home?" Emily knelt before her girls again, her heart aching at the innocence in their eyes. "Honey, I know this is confusing. But we need to be brave right now. We'll go on the ride soon, I promise." Jake stepped closer. "We can get signatures on a protection order, maybe bring authorities into this, but that might only escalate things. We might need to find the truth without drawing too much attention." Emily's mind flashed to their normal, quiet life, the one where she baked cookies for Ella's class, helped Sarah with her homework, and read them bedtime stories. "You're saying we're in danger because of secrets? Because of things we don't even know?" He nodded, the weight of all their futures perched on his shoulders. I don't want to frighten you, but the risks are real. A pang of fear gripped her chest, but it was quickly replaced by determination. We can't keep living under a shadow that doesn't belong to us. It ends now. Ella tugged again at Emily's arm. Mom, can we still go on the rides later? The question hit her like an ice bucket, reopening wounds that were hardly scabbed over. In spite of everything, she didn't want to snuff out their joy. Yes, baby, we will. Jake's eyes flickered, filled with admiration for the way Emily held on to hope not just for herself, but for their girls. The first thing we do is gather what we can. The past has its talons dug into our lives, and if we want to be free, we need to dig them out. With a sudden resolve, Emily rose, brushing off the dirt from her jeans. Then let us get to work. We owe it to our family, the ones we don't yet know but who depend on us. The night air buzzed around them, filled with the distant laughter that felt increasingly alien. As they stepped back into the crowd, a new determination surged through her. She could not shake the feeling they were being watched, that eyes were on them, waiting for the right moment. Just as they turned toward the ride section, a tall figure caught Emily's peripheral vision, someone familiar but out of place, standing among the shadows. Jake, do you see that? She whispered, pointing discreetly. As Jake turned, his face paled. Oh no. We need to move. Now. Emily's heart hammered as they began to quicken their pace, the shadows closing in around them. What dangers were they stepping into, and could they outrun the past that sought them so fiercely? Emily felt every heartbeat echoing in her ears as they moved through the thrumming crowd. The laughter of festival-goers felt like a cruel reminder of their normalcy, a stark contrast to the growing dread that clung to her like a second skin. She held tight to Ella and Sarah, glancing back at Jake, who appeared more anxious than ever. Where are we going? Ella's voice was soft but laced with palpable concern. Emily forced a smile, a fragile mask over her own fear. Just to a different part of the festival, sweetheart. We're taking a little detour. As they stepped deeper into a cluster of food stalls, the smell of caramel apples and popcorn filled the air, attempting to distract her mind. Still, she could feel the weight of the figure watching them. It was just a feeling, but it nagged at her. Emily. Jake hissed, suddenly stopping. He pointed toward a narrow alley hidden between the stalls. In there. We can't risk being exposed. The alley was dim, steeped in shadows, but Emily felt an odd sense of safety not entirely removed from the feverish beats of the festival. As they entered, the noise of the crowd faded, replaced by the distant melody of a carnival tune. Here. Jake led them to the back of the alley, where crates sat stacked against a wall. We'll catch our breath, figure out our next move. Emily nodded, drawing the girls close to her side. They peered into the alley, scanning for any sign of danger. The tension in Jake's shoulders gave her pause. You know something. She pressed, her voice low. More than you've told me. Jake rubbed the back of his neck, the movement familiar yet anxious. The community I mentioned, it was a name on an old document I found. A name connected to some unusual events surrounding our family. They lingered on the outskirts, waiting. What do they want? The question escaped Emily before she could stop it, the urgency pulsing like a blade in her chest. I don't know. But when I found the documents, I realized your mother had severed ties for a reason. He turned to Emily, desperation lining his face. She tried to protect you. But it's too late for that now. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. A shiver coursed through Emily as she recalled her mother's reluctance to share anything from her past. The women in her family always had their secrets, wrapped tightly like shimmering gifts. But this one felt different. This wasn't about her mother alone. Shouts erupted from the festival as a group of teenagers stumbled into the alley, laughing loudly, oblivious to the tension. The joy in their voices contrasted sharply with the knot in Emily's stomach. She pulled the girls closer, instinctively shielding them from the chaos. Stay quiet, Jake whispered, his eyes darting around. Emily held her breath, the sound of footsteps pounding against the ground echoing through her mind. As the laughter faded, she felt absurdly raw amidst the cheerful distractions surrounding them. I want to go home, Sarah murmured, her tiny hand trembling against Emily's. Soon. Emily promised, forcing a smile as she rubbed her daughter's back softly. But we need to figure this out first. The laughter from the festival felt like an unreachable dream. Focusing on Jake's intense gaze, she felt the urge to press him further. What else do you know about that name? What are we up against? Before he could respond, a chill crept through the alley. Emily sensed it, an unmistakable presence that made her skin crawl. Jake, she whispered, straining to hear the shuffle behind them. They turned just in time to see a figure slip into view, their silhouette blending into the shadows. The air turned thick with uncertainty, and all she could think was that they might not be alone after all. Who are you? Jake's voice was steady, but panic danced at the corners of its edges, and just like that, the lights from the festival flickered, almost as if the universe was giving them a sign of impending truth. The figure stepped closer, and in the faint light, Emily could make out familiar features that struck her like a lightning bolt. Mom. She whispered. Disbelief washing over her. Is it really her? What has she come to reveal? The figure stepped forward, and as the dim light illuminated her features, Emily's heart raced. There was no mistaking it, it was her mother, looking older and wearier than Emily remembered. Eyes wide with shock, Emily instinctively took a half-step back. Mom. What are you doing here? How did you find me? Her mother's gaze shifted from Emily to Jake and then back, a mix of fear and urgency etched across her face. I had to warn you. It's too dangerous to stay here. Emily's mind spun. Dangerous? What do you mean? The emotions swirled, the years of silence, the aching questions, and now this unexpected reunion that felt like a plot twist in a story she never wanted to experience. There are things you don't know, Emily. Things I've kept from you to protect you. But secrets have a way of surfacing, her mother explained, her voice strained and shaky. You need to listen to me. Ella and Sarah clung to Emily's sides, sensing the gravity of the moment. Who is this lady? Ella whispered, tilting her head slightly, studying the woman in front of them, her gaze uncertain. This is your grandmother, Emily replied, her voice barely above a whisper. The girls blinked, their confusion palpable. What? You never told us. Sarah exclaimed, her disappointment mirrored in her sister's eyes. Emily felt the floor drop beneath her. I didn't know. I thought you were. I know, her mother interjected, her voice softening. I made mistakes. And the last thing I wanted was to entangle you with my past, but it's too late for that now. What are you talking about? Jake asked, stepping forward. Before the tension could thicken, a siren wailed, echoing ominously through the alleyway. Emily felt her breath hitch. Everything was getting unbearably real, a whirlwind ready to sweep them all away. Listen. Her mother said, urgency returning. They've been tracking you, Emily. Your father's past, his connections, it's deeper than any of us realized. Emily's stomach twisted. What do you mean by tracking? What does Dad have to do with this? Tears filled her mother's eyes, and Emily felt her own well up as she grasped the weight of her desires to understand who she was versus the truth that threatened to break them apart. Everything. Your father made promises to people we can't afford to anger. They want something, and we need to act fast. What do we need to do? Emily's voice trembled. We need to vanish from here. Regroup. But we can only do that if you're willing to trust me again, her mother said, a flicker of hope mingling with desperation. Emily glanced at her daughters, their innocent faces marred with confusion. Who was the real villain in this saga? Her heart ached to guide them through this tangled mess, but shadows of doubt crawled back like whispers. Was re-establishing ties with her mother worth risking her newfound connection with Ella and Sarah? Mom, what about Ella and Sarah? You need to protect them, Em. Don't let them experience the horrors that I had to, her mother urged. At that moment, Jake's expression hardened. We can't just leave. We need to confront this. Our family deserves the truth, not running away. Emily felt a fire igniting within her. Jake is right. We need to face the past head-on. It's the only way we can move forward. With newfound clarity, she stepped closer to her mother, her heart pounding. I'm willing to hear what you have to say, but we need to do it together. She turned to Jake and grasped his arm. You too. Her mother hesitated, the weight of their shared history pressing in around them. Together, then, she finally conceded. The moment felt crafted by fate, a chance for renewal through collaboration. As the shadows threatened to invade the dim alley further, Emily held her daughters closer. We'll face whatever comes together. No secrets. No running. The urgency hung in the stillness, and Emily felt the past lift slightly. Each moment held potential for healing and connection. They'd overcome great odds, and now, standing united against the specter of family legacies, they could reclaim their strength, with that unity pulsing between them. They stepped forward into the night, ready to bring light to the darkness that had haunted them for far too long. Time was still slipping away, but they wouldn't allow fear to quiet their resolve. Emily glanced around, suddenly aware she could almost hear the whispers ebbing to rest, as if the universe granted them a chance to rewrite their narrative. But the real journey was just beginning. The path ahead would be laden with challenges, revelations, and truths that would stretch their bonds even further. But this time, they'd rise together. And now, as the story shifts, I urge you, dear friend, subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support truly matters. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this intense ending. And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Your voice makes a difference.